collaborative effort of everyone that played a part in these.
The other mother, she's got this whole world where everything's better. The food, the garden, the neighbors. But it's all a trap.
So in Leica Films, we like to push hair in more dynamic ways than maybe have traditionally been done in stop motion films. The moment when Coraline is discovering the house, even just the action of her going down the stairs, we wanted to get that sense of like when a kid is sort of jumping and you get that bounce in the shorter bob that she has. And so there was a gear system that was rigged in the back portion of her hair for the animator, where for every frame they could move this gear forward and that would lift the back of her hair ever so slightly and then drop it down, so you got that feeling of loft. It's essentially a puppet on another puppet, and then on top of that the movement can be doing something almost completely independently of what the puppet's body is doing. So the animator has the double task of controlling the performance of the character. They're also controlling how the hair is responding to the environment around it, and they may not necessarily be doing the same thing. There's the bit in the shower, I think, when she kind of goes tick, 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 tick. That was kind of fun because the water is like hard replacement parts. So when she's shaking her hair and you see like the droplets, that's, you know, hard plastic water that's kind of hitting her head. So these are our Scotty dogs, and they were really fun to make. This is kind of early days how Leica did fur. Before fur was added to the hair department. This is a fabric that we have used styling gels and combs to kind of give it a texture. And there's just a mechanical face under here. It's very simplistic work, but just so much character. There's the cutest little things. The Scotty dogs in the movie theater are a little different than our puppets that did the main action in Spink and Forcible's house. The Scotty dogs in the theater are actually a very cool, older, simplistic style of puppetry. They're all connected in a row on a crank. And so an animator would go row by row by row in the theater and turn the crank, and that's what's making each Scotty dog kind of like look like they have individual head movement. But we had to make a ton of these things. So imagine me in what looks like almost like a phone booth, and I've got these little Scotty dogs figures, and you have this wand and you're full of fur, and you hook the dog up to a static charge and then it sticks to the dog, and then you can kind of like comb it down and groom it. And there's just hundreds of those. That was my life for like a week. But it's a really cool scene. It paid off, and I had like Scotty dog fur coming out of my nose for some time. When we started making wigs, we weren't thinking beyond anything other than finishing the film. So even for Coraline, we just sourced, you know, this was an off-the-shelf wig that we ended up liking glue in. And so we were just cutting literally bits of this wig apart to put into Coraline's wig. And there were some other colors sourced from doll hair as well mixed in. But we didn't think about how problematic that is, because if this production of wig goes away, we don't have this blue anymore, and that's Coraline's blue. So now, as we make films, we recognize the more that we can produce and generate the pieces that we use to make our puppets, the better off we are, because then we're in control of how many we can make. You know, you don't consider that resources sometimes are finite.
Going home tonight, robots, and I won't be back.
I built Coraline wigs, but I spent a lot of time doing mother's wigs. Fun fact, at the time I had a little bit longer hair. I had dyed it black. I even hid a teeny bit of my own hair into one of the wigs. I don't remember which one, so I can't point it out to you. You spend so much time with these puppets, they become very special to you, and it's this documented legacy of your time spent. You know, each one of these wigs can take a week, sometimes 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It depends on the complexity. That's a chunk of time of your life focused day in and day out on these little details. It's not just hair. It's all these extra things that someone has to consider in the performance.